Well, Alan Parker wears his heart on his sleeve with this film and he's travelling the world to display it. I talked to him recently about his involvement with the Commitments.
These are working class kids who need or use music to get out of the world that they're in, to get somewhere else because they have nothing else. So music obviously becomes very important. That's a pretty universal theme that could be in any major city really, amongst any working class group. But the attitude to the humour is probably very Irish, which makes it a little special. The thing is that in a film, when you're preparing it, you go somewhere and you see something that's kind of interesting. I happened to go to a big block of flats and I looked up and on the 11th floor I saw a pony's head looking out over a balcony. I thought, how did a horse get up there, you know? They said, oh, it went in the lift. And then you see the lift, which could only take like one person, let alone a horse. You think this is particularly Irish.
I'm black and I'm proud.
And the first decision I made was that it should be honest, it should be truthful, and it should be realistic. I mean, the approach is very naturalistic in how I was going to do it as a director. And if you'd have slipped a movie star in there, it would have been phony, I think. Also, there's a pragmatic reason. There actually aren't any movie stars in North Dublin where we were filming. So it's just a matter of it being real. You know, I didn't want to cheat the music. Actors always think that they can pretend to be musicians, which they can't. So obviously I was going to look for musicians first. So of the 12 main characters, 10 of them haven't acted before, but they're all musicians. So they're all performers to begin with. So it was easier for them to make that jump.
Where we don't belong, living in darkness to hide alone.
Music lately has become so manufactured and cosmetic because of the advent of music television. And anyway, ever since the very beginning of making movies, the music is done beforehand and people lip sync to it, they mime, and it's always been very phony. And so we actually developed a way where we could still have all the things that were required technically in order to be able to do it properly. But I could film live so that everything that you see up there on the screen actually was happening as we were filming it, so that it's not that it matters technically. What matters is that you get a sense of reality, which is more exciting. You actually enjoy the whole, experience that much more.
They're gonna find us lost someday. You and me at the dark end of the street.
The reason that we went so close is because we could. When you're miming, you never ever can risk doing that, because we were doing it live. You were able to do that, and something very special happens because you're completely in contact with him feeling that song, and again, it's part of the experience, why it works as well as it does, why it's so effective. Well, when I went to Dublin, I looked at all the actors first, but there aren't that many actors working in Dublin. There's not a lot of work. It's a very tiny population, Ireland. Most of them probably came out here, that's the reason. But there's a huge music explosion, There's, at any one point, apparently there are 1,200 bands playing in any given night in Dublin, up in an upstairs room of a pub somewhere. So I had all these enormous number of musicians to look at, and I saw about 3,000 people before I decided on the main cast. And Robert Arkins, who plays Jimmy Rabbit, was actually a very accomplished musician. Could have played many of the parts in the film. He was just better, in my opinion, than all the actors that I saw. So even though he hadn't acted before, I made him into the lead character, just because I thought he was the best.
Who was that at the door?
Some snotty-nosed young fella with a mouth organ.
You put an ad in the paper.
I'm putting a band together.
Do you need a singer?
Wise men say only fools rush in.
It's a deceptively difficult film to make, actually. It looked quite simple, which is good, that it come out that way. But it actually is very tricky because it's ensemble playing, which is the most difficult thing to do from the point of view of the acting and the timing and everything. And there are layers of things going on choreographically and layers of sound and dialogue. The up-front dialogue is scripted. The middle layers and back layers are all improvised. To actually get that all working at any moment in time with quite a complicated camera is as difficult as you can do from a director's point of view. But when it comes off, it looks very realistic and natural, and therefore desperately simple. It looks as if you just observed it, you know. And that's, you know, probably the most important thing that you should try and achieve as a director. I mean, I think if you suddenly stop and listen, it makes it all too melodramatic, all right? And when you do your hair, darling, just try and play forward this way, if you can, okay?
'Cause I ain't never loved a man the way that I love you.
I just seen the Melody Quirk's arse coming down the ladder. Yeah.
The thing was that for it not to look manufactured, you know, even though it is very finely scripted and very thoroughly rehearsed, it's meant to appear as if the camera had been put there and you observe something very funny happening as you do in life, without it, you know, out feeling the hand of the director at work or actors acting, you know. It's like looking at an episode of Neighbours, you know, you could, you know, you say, I am acting, and you go, ugh, and there's obviously no truth or reality about it whatsoever, but it's just to get back to truth in drama, which is really the only thing that you ever should say, really, as a director. You know, I never say anything ever to an actor. The most important thing that I ever say is it honest? Do I believe it? It's all that you can do, and it's the most important thing to say.
That was Alan Parker talking about his labour of love, The Commitments.